Edmund Emil Kemper III, commonly referred to as the Co-Ed Killer, is one of the most infamous serial killers in American history. His case is particularly disturbing due to his high intelligence, calm demeanor, and shocking confessions. Kemper's murders, spanning from 1972 to 1973, involved some of the most brutal acts of violence ever committed, including the killing of 6 female college students, his mother, and his mother's friend. This chilling case is one that still captivates and horrifies both law enforcement and criminal psychologists to this day. Edmund Kemper was born on the 18th of December, 1948, in Burbank, California, to Edmund Emil Kemper II, a World War II veteran, and Clarnell Strandberg, a woman who would have a profound and negative impact on Kemper's development. Edmund II was an emotionally distant and alcoholic man, while Clarnell was a domineering and emotionally abusive woman who often humiliated her son. Kemper's mother's harsh treatment was a central factor in the development of his violent tendencies. She repeatedly belittled him, telling him he was stupid, lazy, and would never amount to anything. She made him feel like an outsider in his own home, often keeping him isolated. This psychological torment, combined with his increasingly strange behavior, set the stage for what would eventually become a killing spree. From a young age, Kemper exhibited disturbing behaviors. He began by killing animals, a common warning sign in many serial killers. By the time he was 10 years old, he had started to dismember and decapitate small animals, a precursor to the monstrous actions he would later commit. He was also obsessed with fantasies of violence and control. At the age of 15, Kemper committed his first murders, albeit under the guidance of his internal rage and hatred. In 1964, after a series of conflicts with his mother, he was sent to live with his maternal grandparents in North Fork, California. His mother had hoped that a change of scenery would help him, but it only led to further tragedy. On the 27th of August, 1964, Kemper killed his grandmother, Maud Kemper, by shooting her in the back of the head while she was sitting in the kitchen. He then went out to meet his grandfather, who had been out running errands. When Edmund Kemper's grandfather returned home, Kemper shot him as well. His reasoning, according to his later confessions, was that he didn't want his grandfather to find out that he had killed his grandmother. After the murders, Kemper called his mother and the police, and when law enforcement arrived, he calmly confessed to the killings. The fact that he was only 15 years old led to his being placed in the Atascadero State Hospital in California, a facility for the mentally ill. During his time in the hospital, Kemper was diagnosed as a psychopath, but he was also described as articulate and calm. His apparent remorse and intelligence worked in his favor, and he was declared fit for release after just 5 years. In 1969, after being released from Atascadero State Hospital, Kemper returned to live with his mother, Clarnell, in Santa Cruz, California. Clarnell's control over her son did not ease. In fact, it seemed to only heighten his resentment toward her. During his time living with her, Kemper began to plan his next murders. While Kemper initially appeared to be a harmless giant to the outside world, he was harboring violent fantasies. His mother's emotional abuse, combined with his pent-up anger, led him to target young women, particularly those that reminded him of his mother. He began by targeting female college students, taking advantage of their trust by offering rides to hitchhikers, a common practice in the 1970s. This method was consistent with his pattern of manipulation. His first victims in this killing spree were Mary Ann Pesce and Anita Lucchesa, 2 18-year-old students from Fresno State University. On May 7, 1972, Kemper picked up the young women as they were hitchhiking to Stanford University. Once inside his car, he overpowered them, drove them to a secluded area, and murdered them. Afterward, he dismembered their bodies, kept their heads as trophies, and disposed of the remains in various locations. Kemper's next set of victims, Aiko Koo, a 15-year-old student, and Cindy Shaw, an 18-year-old college student, were also picked up while hitchhiking in 1972. Koo was murdered on the 14th of September, 1972, after being abducted. Kemper took her to a remote area, killed her, and then engaged in necrophilic acts with her body. Kemper's desire to control his victims had now evolved into a full-blown obsession with dominance, and his murders were growing more violent and gruesome with each kill. On the 7th of January, 1973, Kemper killed Rosalind Thorpe and Alice Liu, both students at the University of California, Santa Cruz. He had picked them up the same way, and once again, his plan involved driving them to a remote location where he would murder them. Afterward, Kemper took their bodies to his home, where he dismembered them and kept various body parts. The culmination of Kemper's rage came on the 20th of April, 1973, when he murdered his mother, Clarnell Strandberg, in an act of horrific violence. After a heated argument, Kemper bludgeoned his mother to death with a claw hammer while she was sleeping. He decapitated her and placed her head on a shelf, performing grotesque and disturbing acts on her head. This was a pivotal moment in Kemper's life, the culmination of years of pent-up anger toward the woman who had tormented him. After killing his mother, Kemper invited his mother's best friend, Sarah Hallett, over to the house. He murdered her as well, fearing that she might discover what he had done to Clarnell. After the murders, Kemper staged the scene in an attempt to cover up his crimes. However, his ultimate plan failed.
He judged me not to be that guy. I didn't look like him. It was getting easier to do. I was getting better at it. I was getting less detectable. I started flaunting that invisibility, severing a human head, 2 of them, at night in front of my mother's residence, with her at home, my neighbors at home upstairs, their picture window open, the curtains open, 11 o'clock at night, the lights are on. All they have to do is walk by, look out, and I've had it.
Why did you keep the heads? Why did you cut them off, and why did you keep them?
Something out of my childhood. I can put it on an incident. I mean, my father chopping the heads off of our 2 pet chickens and my mother insisting that I eat them for dinner. You know, we could say it was something that simple. I don't think it was.
After the murders, Kemper fled to Colorado, where he remained for a brief period. However, guilt and fear soon set in. On the 23rd of April, 1973, Kemper decided to turn himself in. He placed a call to the Santa Cruz police and confessed to the murders, revealing to the officers that he had killed his mother and her friend. Initially, the police did not take him seriously, but after Kemper provided specific details about his killings, they realized the horrifying truth. Upon his arrest, Kemper was calm and cooperative with authorities. He provided chilling details about the murders, explaining his thoughts and motivations in a disturbingly detached manner. His willingness to confess was both unsettling and revealing, as he displayed no apparent remorse for his actions. Edmund Kemper was arrested on the 24th of April, 1973, and charged with 8 counts of first-degree murder. His defense claimed insanity, but the prosecution argued he was fully aware of his actions. On the 8th of November, 1973, he was convicted and sentenced to 8 life terms without parole. Calm and remorseless, Kemper referred to his crimes as self-therapy. Diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder and paranoid schizophrenia, his intelligence and insight made him a subject of interest for criminal profilers. He has given many interviews, offering rare psychological insight into the mind of a killer. Portrayed by Cameron Britton in Netflix's Mindhunter, Kemper's calm demeanor in interviews contrasts sharply with the brutality of his action. His case remains one of the most chilling in criminal history, a reminder that monsters can hide behind friendly faces. Now imprisoned at the California Medical Facility, Kemper continues to fascinate and disturb those who study the darkest corners of the human mind. What do you think drove Edmund Kemper to commit such horrifying acts despite his intelligence and self-awareness? Can someone like Kemper ever truly be understood, or is his mind too complex and twisted to comprehend? Do you believe the justice system handled his case appropriately, or should more have been done earlier to prevent his crimes? What are your thoughts on Edmund Kemper's chilling case? Share in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more true crime stories.